All right, everyone, we're going to get started. Can you hear me okay? Please type it in the chat because I have the conference muted right now. So if you can just type if you can hear me. Great. I'm also going to start by turning it over to Sarah Scudder, who's our representative for our print platform. And she's going to cover training and how to use our new print platform, which you can hopefully see her screen. It has a dog, a black lab on it, and she'll walk through that. And then we're going to turn it over to members from our digital platform to walk through the website and the email platform and how to use that. We have quite a few people on the call today, so we're going to keep it muted. But if you have questions, type them in the chat box, and then we'll answer those as we can. And if we're unable to get to it today, then we'll follow up with you after this training session. Again, we sent out an email just a few minutes ago via PAC News that will have your login information as well as some training guides. So if you want to pull those up to follow along, you can take some additional notes, and that may help you as you go back to this later. So that said, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. And Sarah, hopefully, I don't know if I need to unmute you, so can you say something?
Go to
Sorry, one sec. We want to make sure that you can actually hear Sarah. Hey, Sarah, I think you're going to have to dial in via a phone line in order to be able to present and for us to hear you. And if you can use the chat box to text us which number you're in. All right, Sarah, can you try again?
Can you hear me now, Julie?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Sorry, guys. All right, so this is Sarah, and she'll walk us through the print platform.
All right, happy Monday and good afternoon. So the web address for your platform is cbwstore.com, which you can see here at the top of my screen. So you'll want to just remember that, maybe save that in your favorites on your computer. And then you're going to see here below welcome 2 fields. One is for your email and one is for your password. Now your username will be the same user ID you used for your data dog. And your temporary password is CBW1. Now after you log in the first time, you'll be able to change your password. But again, that's CBW1 for the first time. Once you log in and change your password, if you do at some point forget your password, you'll simply select forget your password and it will email you additional instructions. If you also are opening additional locations next year or in future years, you can select new users, click here, and it will bring an online form for you to fill out, and that will allow us to set up a login for any of your new locations. So once you type in your login information, it's going to bring you to what we call the welcome or the splash page, and this is where you're going to see some messaging at the top, and then below you're going to see your different brands here, so you can select whatever brand is appropriate for you. We also have an email to send feedback. We do love to get your feedback. We always want to make sure we're providing you with the absolute best user experience, and do know that we do read any feedback that you do send, and that's much appreciated. So we're going to go ahead and go into the Camp Bow Wow brand. On the left-hand side, you're going to see your catalog, and that's going to have several categories and subcategories, which we'll go into in a second. I just wanted to note here at the top, you'll see there it says a keyword or an item number. So if you are logging into the site and looking for something and you're not quite sure where it is, you can type in the name of the item, or if you do know the item number, and it will bring you directly to that item. Under account information here on the left, and then you'll see there's other links as well, so there's additional information under here. And then we also have support information and site training contact information. So if you ever need to call us or email us, that information is here. And then if you do want to change your password once you do log into the site, you're going to go ahead and select My Account, and then you'll see a few basic fields here that you're going to complete, and then you'll select Change Password, and your password will be changed. So now we're going to go in and actually walk through some of the different types of items that are available online and how you'll actually be able to order those materials. So under Camp Bow Wow, this is the major catalog. There's a number that says 94. That means there's 94 items available in that category. You'll also see the additional categories as well: Home Buddies, Behavioral Buddies, Bow Wow Buddy Foundation, etc. And then below that, there are sub-catalogs. You'll see promotional, camp accessories, print, downloadable files. So we're going to go ahead and go into promotional, and that's going to load all of the promotional items. Now, there are a couple different types of items that are available in the different categories and subcategories. We have inventoried items, which are items that are pre-produced and actually sitting in the warehouse. An example of that would be here where you see this die-cut sticker, item number CB5005. You're going to know it's an inventoried item because it's actually going to say inventory quantity, and then it's going to say the unit of issue. You also have items that are available that are not in inventory, and those are customizable. So those allow you to put some unique information in the item, and then they're produced once they're ordered. So we're going to go ahead and look at a customizable item first, and I'll walk you through how you're going to order one of those items. So you'll see the item image. It's going to give you the name. It says it's a koozie and it's customizable. And then these items have a minimum order quantity. So in this case, the minimum order quantity is 50. If for some reason you ordered 49 or 40, when you get to the shopping cart, it's going to flag that you didn't meet the minimum, and you can go in and update the quantity. So we're going to go ahead and select the item. At the top, it's going to note the turnaround time. So we want to be very, very clear on managing expectations. Inventoried items ship out quicker than customizable items. So this item has a 5 to 7 day production time plus shipping. So if you need an item, in 2 days, you're not going to want to order this because it's not going to be produced in time, whereas an inventoried item is already in stock and will be able to ship out right away. And then there's a brief description about the item below the turnaround time. And then here on the right is an image. So this is showing you what the item looks like. And then in this case, you can customize 2 fields here. So it's going to allow us to customize a phone number, which I'm going to just go ahead and fill in. And then it's also going to allow you to customize a site name. In this case, I'm just going to put test. Once your information has been entered, you're going to preview your PDF. And what this is going to do, it's going to bring up a print-ready proof. This is the actual file that's going to be printed. So you're going to want to triple check that all your information is correct because this is the actual file that's going to go to production. Now you can see here this opens in a large view in a separate window screen. If you do have a pop blocker on your computer, you're going to want to go ahead and turn that off or allow pop blockers for this site, pop-up blockers. If you do not do that, your computer will block the preview. Okay? So once you have reviewed your proof and everything looks correct, you're going to go ahead and add your quantity here. So in this case, let's say we want to order 75, and then we can select Add to Cart. Now, if for some reason you wanted to go back to the catalog, you simply select Return to Catalog. You can also select Favorites, and what Favorites allows you to do is build your own mini shopping cart, and these are items that you think you're going to order frequently. So if it's something you're going to order several times throughout the year and you want to make it easier for yourself to reorder the item, you're going to select Favorites. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our shopping cart. Now, if you look on the upper right-hand side, it says you have 1 item in the shopping cart. So that's how you know that an item has been added to the cart. Now, we're also going to add an inventoried item just so you can see how that works. Now, also below, you'll see we have a Show Detail. This allows you to look at extended information about this item. So it's going to give you the item number, the item name, also an extended description, and then a production time as well. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and let's say we want to order 3 rolls, and we're going to add that to the cart. So now we've added 2 items. We've added our sticker, which is an inventoried item, and then we've also added our koozie. Now we also have print items, and again, some of these are going to be inventoried and some of these are going to be customizable items. So same process as before. You're going to either see an inventory listed or you're not going to see an inventory, and that means that's an item that is going to be customizable. So in this case here, this is your letterhead. You'll see a size and then a turnaround time. You'll see an image on the right, and then on the left, this is where we're going to go ahead and put in our information. I'm just going to put in our test information real quickly here, and we're going to put in a test. Now you'll also see at the top a button that says History Lookup. So once you create your preview and everything is correct, You can also add this to the history, and what that does is when you log back in, it's remembered, and you can simply pull up your past customizable information on your next order. So same process as before. I'm going to go ahead and preview my PDF. It's going to open up my print-ready proof. Now here's the information that I had customized at the bottom. I'm going to make sure that everything is correct. And then I'm going to say I want to order one box 500, and I'm going to add that to my cart. So now we have a total of 3 items in our shopping cart. Now the other type of file that I would like to walk you through is downloadable files. Now these are files that are there is no cost. What you're doing is you're simply customizing a file, and then you actually get a link once you check out on your order confirmation. It's going to have a link for you to access to download the file. So we'll go ahead and select this first item here. Again, we have a history lookup, so you can save what you've customized. So it's very easy when you want to reorder that item. And I'm going to select from our series of drop-downs. I'm going to type in my information. Now the other thing to note is you'll see there's an asterisk below many of these fields, like the select service, like the street address in the city. That means that's a required field. So if you forget to fill it in when you preview your PDF, it's actually going to let you know that you need to complete all the information. There are some fields that are not required, for instance, this contact, so that one you could leave open if you wanted to. So again, we're going to preview our PDF. We're going to make sure everything looks exactly as we would like. And then we're going to add to our cart. So you're simply going to add one. You're going to add that to your cart. And now you have 4 items in your shopping cart. Now again, you're going to get that file once you actually place your order. And we'll walk through now how to use the shopping cart and then how to actually submit your order. So now you're going to go to View Cart. And then it's going to give you, wait till this loads for your screen here. So it has listed in my shopping cart all the different items that I've ordered. If it's a template, it's listing my customizable fields. And it's going to list your location number and your location address, so the address or the store that you logged in as. Now the system is always going to default to ground freight. We want to minimize your freight expense as much as possible. So if you do not come in here and modify, it's going to default to ground. We also do offer second day and next day options, but whenever possible, again, we suggest you use ground freight. Now, if what you have here is correct, and you've got your items, it shows your quantity, it's got your unit price, your total for each item, you can also drill down and change your freight options by item. So let's say you've got an absolute rush and you need your die cut labels tomorrow, and we know this is an inventoried item. We could say we want a next day this, we want everything else to go ground. Now, the other thing you can do is you can also drop ship to many different locations. So if you have 3 or 4 different locations, you can actually come in here and ship to all of those locations in placing just one order. So what you're going to do is you can either search by your store number or you can search by your address. In this case, I'm just searching by store number. And it's going to bring a drop down here. And you can go through and select whatever different locations you'd like to ship to. So in this case, I'm now shipping to 3 different locations. You can also add a custom address. So if you're placing an order and you want to ship to a hotel, you want to ship to your house or a different address that's not in the system, this is where you're going to do that. Now, we have it defaulting here to keep on file. So what it's going to do, it's going to save it in the system for you, and it's only going to be tied to your profile. So nobody else in the system will have access to it. If for whatever reason you don't want to keep it on file, you simply deselect to keep on file. Okay? We're going to go ahead and close. So now at the top, it's showing me that I'm shipping to multiple addresses because I've now selected from the drop-down, and I've said that I am now drop shipping, in this case, to 3 different locations. So once I do that, I select Show Details, and that's going to drop down the details of your different addresses. So here it's showing that I'm now shipping to Elk Grove, Livermore, and Rohnert Park. So it's got the addresses. You can now come in and modify the quantity per location. So you could say, I actually want to ship 150 to this location, and I want to ship 75 to the remaining locations. Now my quantity is 300. I can also modify my freight method per address. So I could, again, say I want a next day, and I want to ship ground for the remaining. And I can drill down at that detail in each item if you wanted to. So once you've modified and selected any drop ships and modified your freight, if you want to ship any method other than ground, you're going to go to your final page, which is checkout. And this is going to give you the actual information here. So it's showing me a product total. It's going to show you a freight. It's going to show sales tax and a grand total. Now, if you want to put an attention to, meaning when the product ships directly to your location, you could put a name here. So let's just, in this case, put Julie. And then if there's some sort of internal purchase order that you would like to use for the order, you can go ahead and enter that. Neither of those fields are required, but we do list them just in case. Then you're going to enter in all of your credit card information here. Any sort of order remarks. So if there's special notes that you have for our customer service team, anything you want to write out for us to look at, you would note that here. Then you're going to agree to your terms, and you're going to submit your order. Then within 5 seconds of submitting your order, you'll get an order confirmation. It's going to have all the details of your order. That will also be emailed to you, so you'll have that as a copy and reference. All right. So that should give you a good high level of how to come in, how to customize items, how to order inventoried items, how to modify in the shopping cart, and how to actually place your order. Once you've logged in and used the site, it should take no longer than a couple minutes for you to come in, place your order, and check out.
Hey, Sarah, one more thing. Can you show just in the cart having a downloadable file and how they'll actually download it?
Yes, let me go ahead. I had this queued as a credit card required, so let me go ahead and remove a couple items, and yes, I'll do that. Okay, so we're going to go back to checkout. And what Julie has asked me to show you is how you're actually going to get, when you order a downloadable item, meaning there's no cost associated with it, and how you're actually going to get that file. So I've now cleared out my cart, so all I have is a downloadable item in my cart. So you'll see this is all zeros here, since there's no cost. And I'm just going to put a note for my team here, this is a test. And then you're going to just agree to your terms and submit your order. And then here is your order confirmation. Now, if you had ordered other items for purchase, they would be listed here as well. and you'll see where it says link to download artwork. You're going to simply click that file, and there's your artwork that you can access and do whatever you want with right there.
And so if you click on that link, Sarah?
Yes.
And then we can show them how they'll actually save it from there.
So here's your actual file, and it's going to depend on which browser and what type of computer you have. So down here, likely it will allow you to save. So you're going to save a copy, and then it will ask, depending again on what type of computer you have, where you want to save it. So in this case here, I'm going to save this to my desktop on my computer. If you have a certain folder with files or images that you prefer to save it to, you would simply select that from the drop-down. So again, I'm going to just go ahead and save this to my desktop, and then you're going to select Save, and your file is saved.
Great, thank you. So once you have these files and you save them, then this is what you'll be able to send to whatever vendor you're using, if you're putting it in a newspaper or a magazine, and you can provide this to them, and then they can size it appropriately for whatever the placement is. All right, I think that covered everything for the print platform. Again, you have a lot of these details in the user training guide that we sent out, so you can review that. But the store is live and active now, so if you want to log in and check things out, you can also place orders at this point. So go ahead and try it out. And then I also included in that email some links to forums, so you can send us your feedback as you use it, if you have any issues or suggestions, or just rave reviews. We like those as well. So make sure that you try it out and post your feedback in that forum. All right, thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay, so just give us a minute and we'll transition over to Ethan, who's going to be presenting an overview of the digital platform. Ethan, I have you unmuted, and I just gave you the ability to present. So if you can go in and then share your screen.
Perfect.
Let's get started with the digital platform overview.
Yep, downloading the web meeting plugin now. Okay, haven't used this before, so just give me a minute. Downloading conference controls. Do you hear me okay, Julie?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Great. The suspense is building. About 75% of the way there. All right. Should have the ability to share now. Let's make sure I could share the right screen. All right. Which screen are you seeing right now?
A basic Ready Talk screen.
Perfect. Okay, good. So now we should be seeing a PowerPoint. Is that correct?
Still Ready Talk.
Still Ready Talk, right? Let me give it a sec. Might just be a little bit slow.
There we go.
Okay, great. All right, so thanks a lot, Julie, for handing it over. And everybody on the line, thanks a bunch for joining. So I'm Ethan Littman. I'm one of Bridgeline's dedicated IAPS trainers for the Camp Bow Wow websites, which are powered by IAPS. Really appreciate everyone taking the time out of their busy schedule to join us today. I know it's not easy setting aside 2.5 hours. I know everyone appreciates it. But I hope you're all excited to learn how IAPS is going to help you grow and manage your new websites and hopefully your locations. So now the most important thing today is keeping it interactive. So please ask questions. I know in this application you could raise your hand in our chat application. You could type questions into the chat box. Please be as engaging as possible because the number one priority that I have is making sure that you're comfortable with your website after today. So this is really an exciting time. You guys now have the power to easily update and modify the majority of content and images on your websites. And in the new age of website ownership and powerful content management systems, it's great that we don't have to rely on developers and technological users to make edits for us. Nowadays, people like yourselves and myself use tools like IAPS that make it so non-technical users can update their websites in a flash. That's my favorite part. And hey, if you are technical and you want to modify things like the HTML, I'm going to show you today how to do that as well. So now the goal of this is to empower you, right? You guys have a new, beautiful website, which we're going to take a look at. It's mobile friendly. It's built on the newest technologies. And now you're going to be able to go in and make all the changes that you'd like. So today we're going to be covering a bunch of topics, really. First and foremost, we're going to be speaking about your website, right? It's all about you, so we want you to be as comfortable as possible. So please ask as many questions as possible. Again, either by raising your hand or typing them into the chat box. We're also going to kickstart today with an unveiling of your new beautiful website. Next, we're going to speak about reviewing the scenario booklet that has been provided for you by Julie. That scenario booklet is really going to be our holy grail as we go through the training. And I'm going to do my best to go through that booklet in a clear, concise order. And I'll also be updating you as what page we're on in the booklet. That way you could do things like take notes. After we review that booklet, I'm going to dive right into IAPS, and we're going to first talk about the WYSIWYG editor. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get, and it's what allows us to make edits in IAPS in a very similar tool to Microsoft Word. This tool is used on pages such as, Why Can't Bow Wow, and a whole bunch of other pages on your website. From there, once we understand the foundation of that editor, we're going to get into scenario-based training. And for this training, I'm going to be using that scenario booklet that I just spoke about, and we're going to delve into a whole bunch of different training topics, from logging in to forgetting your password to managing more complex things like testimonials. And as I mentioned earlier, although we may not go in the exact order of the booklet, I will do my best to do so, and I will also keep everyone updated for the corresponding booklet page that we're on. So from there, we're going to go ahead and talk about managing things like your store hours. And those are using what we call attributes. So we're going to talk about updating your website attributes. From there, we'll jump into Marketeer, and we'll go through your incredibly powerful and really easy to use email system, which I think everyone's going to be excited about. And then, of course, after this brief couple more slides, we're going to dive into the full training of IF's Content Manager and email marketing. So let's go ahead and get started here. And this is just the products and services page that I have up. But all of your web pages are built with the same beautiful responsive design view. So what is responsive design? Well, responsive design means your website is optimized for any device and any screen size, always showing the most optimal content to end users, no matter how they're visiting your website. Now, not only is this great for you as marketers, being that you only have to manage one website worth of content, but Google also eats this up and loves responsive design websites for their search engine optimization, which means you're going to be ranking higher in search engines like Google and Bing. Now, this is that scenario booklet that I referenced during our agenda review. This is the booklet that's going to become your new best friend next to your pup, of course. And this is going to be great when it comes to managing your website. This booklet is going to show us how to edit everything, like pricing tables, featured campers, our team pages, featured callouts, email marketing, and more. This is going to be an extremely useful tool. And today, I'm actually going to review the contents of this booklet in just a couple minutes. And as I mentioned, we want to empower you to be able to make content changes and publish them right away. And to do that, we use this extremely simple to understand WYSIWYG toolbar, which allows you to edit content, insert images, create hyperlinks, insert PDFs, and more. It allows you to, translate content on a page using Microsoft Bing Translator. You could add an image from your computer or from your cell phone to your website. You could insert pre-created, professionally written Camp Bow Wow content for different service pages, right? And today I'm going to show you how to optimize your website with this really easy to understand tool. And then the scenario-based training is going to walk us through managing the day-to-day tasks of your website. And today we'll see how you can complete typical scenarios like changing your homepage featured items, managing team members, updating your testimonials, and more. This is that website attribute screen where you're going to easily be able to manage those super important things like your camp location, hours, phone number, and all that good stuff. And today I'll show you how you can go in and update all these attributes. So now that the website's rocking and rolling, it's going to be time to drive more customer engagement by sending out targeted emails to customers. And IF has a built-in email marketing platform, which allows for powerful campaign management. That means you could send generic marketing emails, but you could also send highly targeted emails for lists of contacts who require something like vaccinations, inactive notifications, or maybe updates on their next reservation. The key here is that you're going to be getting the right message to the right people at the right time. And then finally, we're here for you. We understand that even with easy-to-use editing tools, you're going to have questions on how to manage your website. Look, any new technology comes with a learning curve. We get that. I get that. And we're here to help make that transition as smooth as possible. If you ever have any questions or you want to learn more, you're going to be able to call a dedicated support line, which is still in the works, as you can see by the TBD. If you prefer the self-service, you'll be able to navigate to your dedicated Camp Bow Wow support website that we're building for you. And it's going to be a place where you can find a growing list of libraries, videos, user guides, FAQs, and more. And again, obviously, you see a lot of TBDs there. And that's because we're still finalizing the logistics around the phone number, the email address, and the support website URL. But as soon as that information is available to us, we're going to update the entire Camp Bow Wow team immediately. All right, so with that, let's jump out of this PowerPoint and hop over for the training. All right, so what I have up here is your homepage, and let's just walk through a little bit of what the homepage offers. So this is our franchise model website, and as I scroll down on the homepage, you can see here that I could take a tour or I can make a reservation. Continuing down, I could see what the different services that this current location actually offers, which is nice. Continuing down, we see these homepage features, right? Why Can't Bow Wow, promotions, giving back. Here you see a full banner area, awards and testimonials, which we're going to be playing with today and managing. And then as I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, we have the footer. If there's something I want to do, maybe I want to head over to a services page and view all my services. So this is the services page. And as I scroll down, you see I have the ability to jump into any one of these services by clicking on this. But I also want to show you the responsive design and what I mean by responsive design. So what you're going to see here is as I scroll the page in, pretending that we're looking on this to this website from a screen size smaller than a laptop or a computer screen, notice how I'm not losing content. Do this on a lot of websites, you're going to start losing content. But with this website, instead the content is shifting, right? And it's shifting with us until we get down to something about the size of a cell phone, where now the content totally changes how it's displayed. And it's displayed in a much more mobile-friendly way with friendly mobile icon and then friendly mobile buttons to take all the actions you want to do if you want to jump over to dog boarding or in-home pet care. And every single one of your website pages are built with the same responsive design in mind, meaning your pages are all going to work great on any device type. So let's go ahead and take a look at a dog boarding page just so we can look at a services page. And this is what a typical services page might look like, right? You have the ability to put in a marketing message over here. Some tabs, right? Overview, a pricing guide, and maybe FAQs, different tabs here that we have. As I scroll down, you see a new customer where you can log in, and these store hours. These store hours are going to be filled in by attributes. And every single piece of content you're seeing here is all editable. Right? Today I'm going to show you how you get to totally personalize and manage your website. So let's see what happens when I click Schedule an Interview. And as you can see, this page is going to give us a big form. And as a dog owner, I'd be able to fill out this information, send it to Camp Bow Wow, and then you'd be able to reply to me so that I could schedule that interview for my canine to become a camper. To take a tour button, this is a page that has a video, and it's all about the Camp Bow Wow experience, right? Kind of an online tour for people to take. So this is a video, and not only that, but you could add videos to your website. This is your site, and YouTube is a tool that you have at your disposal. Let's take a look at an event by heading over to Events and Communities and Events. So in this section, you're going to be able to highlight events that that are going on at your camp or at your location. So here I see my upcoming events, and of course these are fake events, right? But I could dive into one of these. And when I dive in, I'm brought to the event detail page, which is all the information about the event. And I could put in about the event text, I could put in images, I could put in a number of tabs here just kind of explaining what's going on with this event, where it is, what time it's happening. And that's all customizable content we could edit. And I'll show you how to build out an event today. Today we're also going to be taking a look at the featured campers, so that you're going to be able to add featured campers from your location or just adorable puppies like Fluffy onto your website. Add in a fun fact, the camper of the month. And as you can see, we give you a placeholder so you know what size image to add, which is going to be really handy for you. And then a little bit about the dog. Now, outside of the dogs being obviously extremely important to a Camp Bow Wow location, Even more important is your team members, obviously. So here we go to Our Team page, and this is going to be a place where you could write about the team, the owners, and then the staff. This is a great place to highlight your star staff employees, put in information about them, their position, expertise, fun facts, maybe a little bit about their pets. And then again, we're giving you a placeholder that you're going to be able to copy so that you could add more than just 2 employees if you have, right? You could add as many employees as you have onto this page. That's the beauty of it, making sure that this speaks to your location and your needs and your camp, really. And then we saw the awards and testimonials on the home page. As you see, there's also an awards and testimonial page on the website where you could rate the stars, the dog, and a little blurb. So here we see what Jeff thinks of this location here. The live webcams is going to bring us over to the live webcam page, and this is a URL that's not up right now, but you'd be able to watch your dog play at the actual location. Franchise opportunities would drive back to the franchise master website, and then this giving back page is a place where you could feature different content about foundations that you have. So I just wanted to give a little look at the new website first, before we started. I hope you guys are excited about it. I think it's a beautiful site, mobile friendly. It's going to do wonders to get you guys ranked high in search engines. So really exciting things going on here. So now before we dive into the training itself, I'm just going to pull up the scenario guide that we're going to be working in just so you could follow along. And this is that exact scenario guide. So this is the cover of it. This is what you'll want to be working with. And then I scroll down in the scenario guide. We see the table of contents here. I'm going to do my best starting from page 6 to actually just walk us all through the guide. I'm probably not going to do every one of these tasks because, we only have approximately a little over an hour and a half, but I will do a majority of these tasks, both on Content Manager and within Marketeer. The guide starts off with about your URL structure and how you can log into the website. So as you can see, to log in, you're going to put in a URL followed by your franchise location, followed by /admin. And that's going to bring you to the IF's admin screen you're going to see in just a moment. When you do log into IF, this is the IF's dashboard, which we're going to see in a moment also. And I know that we see all the buttons here, but I'm actually going to show you them within IAPS because a majority of this is going to be done, obviously within the product. All right, so that's going to bring us down to page 6, and from here we're going to get into all the different use cases. So at this point, I hope everyone has this, printed out or at least out on another monitor so that you can look at it as we go through the training and take notes. At this point, I do like to always pause and ask if there's any questions on anything we've covered so far. So are there any questions, anything you want to see again? I don't actually see the chat box. So
I'm monitoring the chat box, and there's no questions as of yet.
Okay, great. Thanks. So if there is a question, just interrupt me, and that way we could address it. And today I'm going to be using 2 browsers at certain points. Here I have Firefox open. That's what I'm going to be using to log into IAPS. And here I have Google Chrome open. This is what I'm going to be using just to show you guys some front end of the website, right? Not logged into admin, but the things that everybody sees. Okay, so let's start off logging into IAPS admin and going in through the logging and process. And that is going to be on page 6 of your user guide. So what you're going to do is go to, while it's still in prod, meaning production, campbowwow.prod.iaps.com, and then you can do /franchise and admin. So let me just do that right now, /admin after the URL. And by typing in /admin after the URL, you're going to be brought here, which is your IF's admin login page. You're going to log in with the username and password you previously received. And I assume if you didn't receive that, just touch base with Julie. At this point, you can log into Content Manager or Marketeer. depending upon the task that you're going to be completing. And for this example, and to begin today's training, I'm going to log into Content Manager, and I'm going to select Login. As I log in, I want to talk to the fact that IAPS is 100% cross-browser, cross-operating system compliant, which means you could log into IAPS and edit your website at home, at your office, or from an airport. And although you can use any browser to edit your website, I personally always recommend Firefox or Chrome. They work great with the IAPS admin tool when it comes to, again, managing your website. So it's Firefox or Chrome. So let's log in here. Let me put in my URL, my name again, Content Manager, and log in. So when I log in, I'm going to be brought to my IAPS Content Manager dashboard. And I'm going to talk to this a little bit later on. But really what's great about IAPS is we're going to be spending the majority of time today editing our website in Site Editor mode, which is where you can look at your website. But before I do that, I do want to kind of keep to the task of staying on point and going in the order of our training guide. So on page 7, the first thing we see, section 1.5.2, is updating your password. And the first time that you log into IAPS, you will want to update your password. So in the header of IAPS, you're going to see your username right here. If you hover over this, you can select Change Password. At this point, you're going to have to enter your current password and your new password, and you're going to have to enter your new password two times, and then you could change the password. I'm not going to change my password. I'm going to click Cancel. After you do change your password, just as a side note, you will have to log into IAPS again after changing it. All right, so now let's get over to publishing content and editing content. So I'm going to talk a little bit about page 7 and page 8 right now. And to start this all off, I'm going to go ahead and click on this button here. This button's your best friend. This button is Jump to Site Editor mode. So what is Site Editor mode? Site Editor mode is awesome. Site Editor mode is where we can edit content on our website in the same view that your website visitors look at your website. So we're not bringing you through some clunky back-end system. We're not making you, edit content and then preview it later. You're going to be able to edit content in real time looking at your website. And what you notice right now is a couple things. This top black bar and all these pencil icons. And that's because we're logged in. And when we're logged in, we see pencil icons. And anytime we click on a pencil icon, we're going to get a call to action menu. So as you can see here, I could edit each one of these promotions. I could edit this block of content. I could edit this. Really anywhere with the pencil icon, which is pretty much every piece of content on your site, we have the ability to edit. And I'm going to get to editing a bunch of these different pieces of content as we go along. But let's talk about what happens after you edit content. And you're going to want to publish it. And on page 6, you see something about a workflow. Now, after you update content on your website, you're going to want to submit that content to workflow for the CBW, for the Can't Bow Wow corporate team, to publish it, to approve it and publish it. So to do that, you're going to hover over workflow after you make changes and click Submit into workflow. Now, this isn't set up yet, but let me show you what's going to happen, because I could show you anyway. Over here, you see Select Workflow. What you're going to see here is multiple workflows to choose from, or a workflow to choose from. And you're going to be able to select the workflow that you want to ultimately publish to. Next, you're even going to be able to set up a publish date and time, because maybe you don't want your content to go live right away. Maybe you want this content to go live, on Halloween, but you don't want to be working Saturday, Halloween night, right? Choose October 31st, and then you can even choose the time you want your content to go live after you made the changes. Select your time zone, and then you could submit it into workflow, all right? And we're going to do more around submitting into workflow as we go and actually make content changes. So now as we get into editing different types of content, within IF there are different forms of content that we're going to be speaking to a lot. The first type of content is using the WYSIWYG editor, which is a text editor, a whole lot like Microsoft Word. And before we actually now continue on to page 8, before we do that, excuse me, I'm going to go over the text editor because it's really the baseline, and it's so important when it comes to editing any content on your site. Excuse me. So I'm going to head over to About Us, and I'm just going to head over to a generic page like Why Can't Bow Wow. And again, right now I am pausing from going along the lines of the training guide because I want to talk about the really important text editor. So over here I see a pencil icon. When I hover over the pencil icon, all the content that lies within it highlights within a green box, right? So let's go ahead and click on Edit Text. When you click on Edit Text, your text editor opens. Now this is a long page, so as I scroll down it, notice how the text editor goes away? Well, that's frustrating, so what I love to do is pin it. So now it's going to travel down the page with me. Much better. Now let's talk about this text editor and the different buttons it includes. So the first thing to note is that it's a WYSIWYG editor, which means what you see is what you get. So as I type, things like word wrap will automatically happen. Right? Again, you're editing this website, looking at it the same way an end user views it, which is really powerful. There's no guess and check. So let's talk about some buttons here. This button is very important, paste from word strip font. And it goes with this button right here, paste plain text, and strip formatting. And all those things speak to the fact that you have a new, beautiful website, and it really takes into account the brand of Camp Bow Wow. We really try to focus on the brand of Camp Bow Wow. And that brand takes the form of not just the images and imagery and logos, but it goes down to things like your text size, your text color, your text font, right? So anytime you're going to paste content from an external source, go ahead and use paste plain text. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure it's pasting the content into your website using the pre-approved proper Camp Bow Wow text and font elements. Next, sometimes you see font that's a little bit bigger or blue. So to set up those font styles, you have different H1 and H2 and H3 tags. And these are basically used for subheaders, okay? This is where you could set up your subheaders on pages. Continuing on, some other really important buttons. If I want to undo something, I'm going to go ahead and undo it. And next we have the ability to insert images onto our page. To insert an image, I'm going to click on this button here, Insert Image from Library. Now this is really cool. There's a couple different types of images I could add. I could add an image that I've uploaded from my computer. So if I want to upload an image, I'll add a new image. I could browse my computer for that image. Save it. File updated successfully. And now I see that image appear right there. Sometimes you're going to see an image and it's going to have this icon right here. What that's telling you is, hey guys, we don't recommend you putting that image on your website because it's really big. Any image over 100 KB can begin to slow down your website because of the size of the image. Now, one image on a page at 135 KB is not going to slow down the image. But if on your home page or another page, you have, 4 or 5 images, each one 400, 500, or 1,000 KB, that page is going to load slower. So definitely be cognizant of the image sizes that you're adding. Next, if you don't want to add an image that you took, right, of your staff or of your campers, maybe you want to add an image from the professionally created image library from Camp Bow Wow Corporate. Well, what we could do is head over to the franchise model website. And this is all the images that come with my website. So as we see, I have the ability to choose different images, different rewards, sample images, and this is just a nice repository for you to add images to your site that you don't have to create, that have been created for you and are available to you. And the corporate team can continue to add images in here for different holiday sales or promotions, so you could check back to see what images have been added. I'm going to go back to my image library in Broomfield. That's the site I'm logged into. And let's put this image onto the page by selecting it, and there it is. Once the image is on the page, you even have the ability to resize it very simply. All right. Now, outside of images, another really, really important aspect of any page is going to be creating hyperlinks, right? And there's a couple different types of links you might want to create. The first type of link that you might want to create is an internal link, such as, visit our dog walking page. Perhaps you want to link them over to an external website, okay? So maybe they're going to the Camp Bow Wow corporate page. Visit our corporate page. Another type of link would be download this brochure, or maybe, download this PDF or file or Word document, whatever document it is. 3 common types of links. Anytime you're linking somebody internally to a page, you're going to highlight the text and click on this button here, Link to Library. From here, you're going to choose the link target as a page, and then you're going to search for the page using this icon. You're never going to type in the internal URL page anywhere on the site. You're never going to type in an internal URL in a link. And that's because IAPS is doing a lot of really friendly, great SEO things behind the scenes to boost your rankings in search engines. It's technical. Long story short is you're always going to search for the page you're linking to if it's internal. From here, all of your pages live under the global navigation. Now I want to show you something. This is menus and pages. This is the heart and soul of your website. This is where all of your menus and pages are actually created in the back end. So notice here how you see home, services and pricing, and about us. Well, let me bring over a website here, right? This is home, servicing and pricing, and about us. Underneath about us, you have why Camp Bow Wow, why Home Buddies, etc. Well, notice here, underneath about us, you have why Camp Bow Wow, Home Buddies, etc. So this, dog ticket tour, etc. This is going to literally mimic the exact build out of your website. Okay. So right now, if I want to link over to the page about dog walking, I'm going to go to services and pricing. I'll go to my dog walking menu item. Menus are on the left, pages are on the right. Here's that dog walking page. Select the page, and let's create that link. Beautiful. Next, if I want to link them over to our corporate page, that's an external link. So I'll just click on this button here, my hyperlink manager, and I'm going to type in the external URL, www.campbowwow.com. I'm going to have that open in a new window. It's web best practices, right? We don't want to invite them to leave our website, and click OK. And, I imagine you guys might be uploading brochures or PDFs or other documents to this website that you want your customers or potential customers to be able to download. All of those are going to be living in your file library. So we're going to link to library. And the same way that all your menus and pages live in the menus and page library, and the same way that all your images live in the image library, all your files live in the file library. And from here, I could add a new file or choose a file that has been uploaded by corporate, right? So we could always jump over to the other libraries. To add a file, you'll add one file, and you'll browse your computer the same way you added an image. You can choose the image, choose the file, title it, and then save it. Now the file is in my file library, and I can select it and create the link. Perfect. So those are 3 types of links. If you ever want to unlink something, just highlight the text and remove that link. The next button here that we're going to point out is this integrated Bing translator, where you can highlight content and translate it very quickly. Next, as you see, we can align left, right, and center, and this is a lot like Microsoft Word. You can indent, remove an indent, new paragraphs. You have numbers and bullets specific to your website look and feel. You have a table builder, which I'll show you later. If you ever want to add a page break, you can insert this horizontal rule, right, that button there. If you want to align an image to the right or left, you could use this button here to align the image to the right or left. And then bold, italicized, underline, superscript, subscript. And if you are savvy enough to edit the HTML, you could click this button here to bring you to the HTML of the page. I don't know what that means. That scares me. I'm going to click the pencil icon to get back over to the regular text editor. Now, after you edit content for the first time, if you click Save, you're going to get a warning saying, hey, Ethan, you cannot edit master site content. Click Save As. And that's because all of your websites, when you get them, all the content is referencing the master site. And, of course, you don't want to make changes to the master site because that would change everybody's site. So we don't let you do it. What you're going to do is click Save As. And when you click Save As, you're going to be brought over to the content library. So just like we have an image library and a menus and page library and a file library, we have a content library. And this is where all of your content for your website is stored. You'll be able to choose a folder to save this content to, or you could add a new folder by clicking this plus sign, and I recommend doing this, right? So maybe this new folder is About Us section. And by doing this, I'm just setting up a way to neatly organize my content. I like to think of the content library as a file cabinet. Anytime you update new content, you have to store it in your file cabinet. And you're going to want to create new folders in your file cabinet to keep your file cabinet nice and clean. All right, I'll select that directory. Great. All right, so after we edit content, and before we continue on again to follow along in our guide, let's talk about publishing, because you're going to have to know how to publish any content you update. When you hover over Page Actions, you see the option to save as draft. If you're ever editing content and you're not ready to publish it, you're going to click this button. That's going to save a draft version of this page. You're going to want to click this if you've been editing content for a while and you don't want to lose the changes. Right, just like Microsoft Word. As you edit stuff, you save as you go. Do the same thing in iApps. Here I see I saved it as a draft. Next, when I hover over Workflow, if we are ready to publish it, you're going to be always clicking, and Julie, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're always going to be clicking Submit into Workflow. And when you click on that button, you're going to have the option to now send this content over to the Camp Bow Wow corporate team. And the Camp Bow Wow corporate team is going to have to approve it and publish it. At this point, you'd be able to select the workflow, and this is still, it's not created yet, but it will be. Choose the publish date and time that you want it to go live, and then you would click Submit into Workflow. At that point, the content, again, would be sent over to Camp Bow Wow. The corporate team would be able to publish it or reject it. If you ever want to add notes to a page, like, hey, guys, this is why I updated it. Or maybe if they reject something, the Camp Bow Wow corporate team, they're going to put in a note, hey, this is why I rejected it. This is what you should fix. You have the ability to show and hide notes. And these are page notes that go along with the page through the workflow, which is a nice feature. And the last thing I'm going to show you here before we get over to the guide is after you make edits to a page, or as you're looking at a page, you might want to see what that page looks like on a mobile device. And you don't want to have to, take out your iPhone or something like that. You're going to be able to preview every single page from a smart device right from within iApps, which is really nice, right? I see a real view of exactly what my page looks like. Beautiful. Close this and close this. All right. So now I'm going to head back over to our guide. Julie, did any questions come in that we should address?
There's one question that asks how much time should we build in for review, and this is part of the workflow. So we're defining that process internally, but it's pretty quick on our end. So you should probably expect like a day turnaround time.
Perfect, thanks. And guys, just so you know.
When will the new website be up? Sorry, I'm just going to answer this other one. The plan right now is for it to launch on November 16th, but that's all pending, making sure you guys are getting in, editing your content and testing it and providing us any additional feedback. So if there's any issues that we can fix them before launch. So assuming everything goes well, the goal is to launch it on November 16th to the public.
Awesome. I just want to point something out here. So now the website's launched, let's say November 16th. And maybe what you want to do is you want to put some kind of Thanksgiving message somewhere on your page. Obviously, you might not want that to go live until Thanksgiving. So you would choose your publish date and time, right, as November 26th. I hope I don't embarrass myself here. You get to choose the time of day you want it to go live, and then you would click Submit into Workflow. Now, Julie's team is going to go in. They're going to respond in a day or two and publish it out. When they click Publish, it's not like it's going to go live right away. That publish won't go live until the publish date and time you selected. So it's not like you have to, schedule one day in advance. You can schedule a week in advance or as much in advance as you want, and the content's always going to go live at the date and time that you put in. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going to jump back to page 8 in our guide, the Holy Grail of iApps. And let's talk about editing the content of a pricing area. Now, step 1, iApps in our guide, is from the dashboard to go to menus and pages. Now, let me talk through this. This is important. I don't have to go back to the dashboard. What I love about iApps is staying on the front end of the website and not dealing with the back-end system. So let me show you the 2 ways to get to this overnight dog boarding page within edit mode, right, because I want to edit it. What I could do is head to dog boarding, click on this link, and I'm now going to be brought to the dog boarding page within edit mode. Awesome. I think that's a lot easier than going to a back-end system. But I'm going to show you what the guide says just so you can see that it's the same thing. So that guide says, from the dashboard, go to menus and pages. So to get to my iApps dashboard, I'm going to hover over iApps and click my Content Manager dashboard. Now, menus and pages is where all of my menus and pages are stored. So I'll click on menus and pages. The guide now tells me under the global navigation, expand the menu for services. Okay. There it is. And now I see the complete list of Camp Bawa services. In this example, I'm going to select dog boarding. And if I want to edit the dog boarding page, I'd click on overnight dog boarding and select edit page. I think you guys would agree with me. It's easier to just get there from the front end of the website. But I wanted you to see, the back end way to navigate to pages and the front end way to navigate to pages. I hope that makes sense. So now we're taken to the page in site editor mode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down on the page until I see the content area I'd like to edit. And right now what I want to edit is this pricing guide. So I'm going to click on the pencil icon next to the pricing guide and select Edit the Text. And as I told you before, that WYSIWYG editor is all important. It's everywhere. That's why I started with it. Here's that WYSIWYG editor. You could add images, videos, right? Everything that we spoke about you could add here, that same text editor. But if you want to make updates to a pricing guide or a table, it's exactly like Microsoft Word. Highlight the row. I could change the price, right? Obviously, I could change the price. If I highlight the row and right-click on the row, I could delete a row, insert a row below, insert a row above. There you go. Now it's deleted. So you're going to come in here, right? You're probably going to change this from Service 2 to, I don't have a good example, dog boarding 101. Put in your price, and then you click Save. Now again, if you click Save here, you're going to get that warning. right? Anytime you're editing content for the first time, you're always going to click Save As because you have to create that content local to your website. Okay, right now, though, I'm not going to mess with the Broomfield site. I'm just going to click Cancel. After you made your updates, you would submit it to the workflow. Any questions on how to edit the services page? And again, don't be shy. Type in the questions to the chat box, and Julie, interrupt me and ask them away. I'll just pause for a moment. Okay.
No new questions.
Awesome. So now, continuing along the lines of our guide, I'm on page 11, which is section 1.5.5, Creating Editing Featured Tile. So in addition to editing text areas, you might also want to edit the featured promotion, which is on your home page. So how are we going to do this? The first thing that you have to do is the image that you're going to use in that home page section should be 600 by 275. All right? If you don't know how to resize an image, outside of utilizing, I assume, the Camp Bow Wow team, you could always use something like Microsoft Image Editor, Photoshop, Paint, and resize your image in any of those tools. From there, you'd want to upload your featured promotion image to your image library. Okay? So again, this is telling me to go back to my back end. Let's do it. I'm going to head over to my Content Manager dashboard. And step 2 is upload your featured promotion image to your image library. So I'll go to my image library here. And right now, again, I probably want to keep this neatly organized. I don't like having everything in the unassigned folder. That's not real to my business. So if I'm adding a featured promotion, I may make a new folder where I want all of my featured promotions to go. How you set up your different folder structures are totally up to you, okay? It's going to be what makes the most sense. The only folder structure that has front-end facing values is menus and pages, right? Because that's your website. That's the only folder where you're not going to want to just add new things. But images, files, content, you're going to arrange these how it makes the most sense, okay? These have no front end, meaning customer-facing issues. All right, so now I'm going to add that image. That's 600 by 275. In all honesty, I don't have one keyed up, but if I did, I would just select Add One Image, and I would add it here. Okay, once the image is uploaded, I want to get to my home page. So check this out. To jump to my home page, there's going to be a great shortcut for you guys. Site Editor, home page. Boom. Right? I think you're getting the point here. I want you to be spending 80% of your time here, not in that dashboard. You could be spending 80, 90% of your time looking at your website, doing all your content updates from here. All right. So now we're going to scroll down on the page to where the featured promotions appear, which is right here. Now this area is controlled by content definitions. And a content definition basically is a content type or content style. So let's go ahead and edit this content definition. So what's the difference between the content definition and that WYSIWYG editor? Well, that WYSIWYG editor was totally free form, right? Within a content definition, we give you fields: title, image, subtitle, description. Each content definition on your website will have different fields. What you're going to do is put information into each one of these fields, and it's going to output something beautiful, like you saw on your home page. Here you see a link URL. As I mentioned earlier, you're never going to type in your internal link URL. You're going to search for that internal link URL, and in this case, it's my promotions page. So I'll expand global navigation, about us, I think. Nope, maybe not. Events and community. I'm just looking for that promotions page. There it is, promotions menu item, promotions page, and I'm going to select that page. Perfect. At this point, I could continue to make content changes. So let's just write a exclamation mark just so you can see something change here. I'm going to click Save As. Note how I add an exclamation to the subtitle just so we can see a change. And I'm probably going to add another folder into my content library called Home, right? And maybe in this folder, all the home page changes I make will go here. I'm going to save this as test, select that directory. There it is. There's my exclamation mark. It changed in real time. You can now submit this into workflow to get approved by the Camp Bow Wow corporate team. So after you updated that, so that's how you would update those homepage featured areas. Does that make sense, the difference between a content definition and that WYSIWYG editor, that freeform editor? Was that clear? All right.
I think everything right now is probably, there's a lot to take in. I know being new to this process initially a couple months ago, so I anticipate that the franchise owners are probably absorbing, yes, clear as mud, absorbing a lot of this, and then probably refer back to the training guide, refer back to this training session, because it'll be posted as they go through it. But yeah, we know that there's a lot of information right now, but we wanted to get it out for you. And then as you utilize the website and update more content and images, it'll become a lot easier for you to know how to navigate iApps, and it'll be pretty simple. But right now I know it's kind of confusing and just a lot of information. So we'll continue through, but just know that this information, this training session will be available for you later for you to refer back to as you actually go through your website and make some of these changes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I had a slide on it in the PowerPoint I started with, right? Any new technology is going to have a learning curve. And the technology that's all about running a website is probably going to have a greater learning curve than a technology like, getting a new iPhone versus an Android. But just know we're here for you. We're going to give you guys a support phone number, an email address, a website with videos, snippets of videos, FAQs. We're going to take care of you and walk you through this process as much as possible. All right, so right now I am on page number 13 of the guide, and I'm on section 1.5.6, creating and editing awards and testimonials. So testimonials are used on your home page and have a dedicated page under About Us. So on the home page, this is where we see testimonials, okay? And underneath About Us, here you see that testimonials page. Now the formatting of awards and testimonials is a content definition, like we just see here, right? I'm going to give you an easy hint. Anytime you're looking at content and you're like, man, making this in Microsoft Word would be really hard. It changes colors when I hover over it. There's a title and an image and a title and an arrow thingy, a text and a button. I can't make this in Microsoft Word. When you're looking at content and it's hard to make in Microsoft Word, it's probably a content definition. I couldn't make this in Microsoft Word. That would be hard. Circle image, it's going to rotate. We see the stars, right? If it's difficult to make in Word, it's probably using a content definition. And this content definition is probably called something like testimonials, right? Because we name them something as obvious as possible for you. So let's talk about awards and testimonials on the home page. What I'm going to do is I want to add a testimonial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my global, I'm going to head over to my content manager, my content items. So it's in iApps. I'm going to head over to my content manager dashboard. I'm not going to, it's reminding me of this because I didn't submit my page to get published, but that's because I don't want to save anything I'm doing today. And from my dashboard, I'm going to go to content items. And I'm going to show you something cool. I could add a new folder here, right? I could add a new folder. I could add a new piece of content. And I could do this all from the back end. But again, I don't want to keep you guys in this back end view. You should be looking at your website as much as possible using the easy tools. So don't worry about, being in this back end. And thank you, Mike, for the text message there. So what we're going to do is for the testimonials, you're going to update it right from here. Click this pencil icon, add new content. So what I'm going to do here is I'm telling iApps that I want to look into this home folder. And now there's not going to be any testimonials because I'm changing what the website came with. But let's add an item to display. This is how you're going to get your own testimonials. You're going to look in one of your folders, and you're going to add new content. Here's testimonial. That's the exact content type I want. iApps is smart enough to know what you're trying to add here. I'm going to call this testimonial 1, and let's add it. We'll add an image. Now, I don't actually have an image for a testimonial, but what's beautiful is I don't have to. I could access an image from my shared Camp Bow Wow library of images, right? Let me just find the testimonials here. Excuse me. Awards and testimonials. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. All right. This is the title. The description. I could add a link, text, and I could add a link URL. Put in the rating and the source. When I save this, you're going to see that testimonial appear. There it is. Automatically applies quotes, formats the name, and adds the image. From here, I could continue to go in and add more and more of my own testimonials by clicking Add New Content. Once I have all my testimonials added, I would submit that page into the workflow. All right, so now let's talk about how we're going to get events onto your website. And this is on page number 16. And there's two components to creating events. And events and news items are both very much the same. So out of time's sake, I'm only going to show events. I'm not going to show both. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have to create the event for our location, for our camp. So to create an event, this is actually one of the few places where I'm going to say you do want to go to the admin, okay? Right, everywhere else I keep saying stay on this front end view. But for an event, we have to add a new page. And because we're creating a new page, we're going to go to the admin. So let's head over to my Content Manager dashboard. And because we're creating a new page, we're obviously going to go to Menus and Pages. And now I want to go to the Events section. So I'm going to expand my global navigation, Events and Community, and Events. I want to put this event in the proper month. And right now we're in October. I could also just keep it here. Really, I guess kind of just a matter of how they want to format it, how you want to format it. At this point, I'm going to click Add New. And I'm going to create a page for the event. I'm going to title my page, and this is going to be Puppy Bowl. And the Super Bowl. Template. I'm going to use my event template, T10, Event Detail. Now we're going to click Save and View in Editor. You also could update the SEO here, but I know that's a separate thing that you guys are going to do with another team. So save and view in editor. And now we're going to be brought to a blank page. When you're brought to a blank page, it's a little intimidating because there's nothing there. It's just blank. But on the page, we're going to want to create an event. And an event is a content definition. So what I'm going to do, scroll down a tiny bit. I'm going to create a content definition. Create content definition, right? I'm building a whole new page here. And I'm going to choose my content type as event. This is the title of my event, Puppy Bowl 2015. My description, pups playing football is adorable. I could choose an image for my event. I'm not going to choose one. I don't have any queued up. But if I could, right, it'll bring me right over my image library. I could choose a start date and end date. So maybe this happens on October 29th at 10:15 a.m. and maybe it ends October 29th at 11:45 p.m. It's a really long game of football. The location name, Superdome. The address, 123 Stake Street, New York. State, New York, zip 10023. Are we allowing registration to this event? Yes or no? Is there a third-party registration URL? If there is, type it in. Make sure to type in HTTP first, right? thirdpartywebsite.com. All right, now I can click Save. If there was a registration page URL internally, I would search for it. I can click Save here. And because this is a brand new piece of content, I have to store it in my content library. I'm going to call this Event 1. I don't yet have a folder for events in my content library, and I want to keep my content library neat and organized, so I'm actually going to create a folder for events here and select that directory. Beautiful. Look at that. Stylized. Pretty. Now you would submit this into workflow to get approved. I'm an administrator, and I want to show you guys something, so I'm just going to publish now. And just like that, I just created an entire event. I created a new page, a new menu. I created a whole new page and an event in 5 minutes, and that's while going slow talking it out. Now if I go to the events page, we would be able to see the event appearing here. I'm not totally sure why it's not, but I don't want to take away from this. You would see the event appearing here, though, and it would be showing. Okay. So after you create the event, right, if I go to the Halloween costume contest, all right, that's not a real page. Let me go back to the event that I created. Again, it should be appearing there. I apologize, that's not. Okay, here's that page I created. As you can see, it's live because I published it. I want to go ahead and edit the page because what the majority of your event pages have is tabs on them. Here's an example of what I mean. Notice how you see tabs on this page. Okay? Well, how do we do that? How do we create these tabs? Again, I'm following along in the guide. I'm currently on page 16 and very quickly moving on to 17. The first thing that I'm going to do to add a tab is I'm going to click on this button here, CL Link Container. And what we're going to do is click Change Link. And I'm literally following along in the guide right now. I have 2 monitors open. So the guide is detailed for you. In this modal, we're going to create the following. The link title is the title of my tab. So I'm going to call this Event Details. I feel like that makes sense. The link target is just a hashtag. So what we're going to do is select page and hashtag. That's it. That's all you got to do. At this point, you're going to create the link. Now what we just did is we created a tab, okay? This is going to look a lot different when it's published than when it does when we're editing it. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create the text, the contents of the tab. And we're able to insert a text box or a content definition or even a list. But my guess is the majority of you guys are going to be adding content into these tabs. So I'm going to click on Insert Content, click the pencil icon, and I'm going to create new text. This is that same WYSIWYG editor I started today off with. We know all the options and tools I have here, so I'm just going to write, this event is going to be off the hook. Check out a fantastic time. All right? I'm not going to lie, that whole time I was trying to think of a good dog puppy pun, and I didn't. That's why I typed all that. All right, so that's our WYSIWYG. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And because this is brand new content, we're going to have to save it in the content library. So maybe I'm going to call this, Puppy Bowl Tab 1. That's the name of my content, internal purposes only. Throw it into my event folder. All right. At this point, again, I could submit it to workflow, but I'm just going to click Publish now because I want to show you how this looks when it's finished. And there it is. There's my tab. I could have many, many tabs here, okay? That's how we create an event. I know it's a little bit more complex, obviously, than just editing regular content. All right, now let's talk about how we, if there's no questions, I will pause for a sec just to see if anything came in. Okay, so let's talk about how we could create team members. And again, I'm going along the lines of the training guide, and now I'm on page 19. So our team has been created for you, but you're going to need to update it for your specific staff members. So let's head over to the Our Team page. And there's things you're going to need. You're going to need a staff image, 250 by 300. You should know the staff name, the position, and a brief bio. So the first thing that I'm going to do to create the staff page is navigate to the Our Team page in edit mode. My guide tells me to go to the dashboard and menus and pages, but like I told you, I like staying on this front end view. All I have to do is get into edit mode. There's no pencil icons. To get my pencil icons back, I'm just going to click on this pencil icon. Gorgeous, honey. There they are. All right. So now what I can do is scroll down. And I'm going to ultimately want to edit something for a staff member. So what we're going to do is head down to our Meet the Staff section, click the pencil icon, and edit this text. Now, let me just click on that button here so it stays down with me. And I could go ahead and add new images, right? I'd add my image, my position, my skill, and a fun fact. Once I did that, I would click Save as New, Save As, and I'd save it into my content library. I'll show you how this will ultimately look. Let me just find an image here. I'm going to go to my shared franchise model image library where we have a whole bunch of different images available to you. I'll just take the one image that I have here, right? And then we just type in the information. Boss me. Maybe you don't want that bold, just unbold it. background, right? And I think you get the picture. I could add in this. I could add in my additional skills and qualifications. And I could type in my fun fact. If when you type it in, it's bold, just highlight the text and unbold it. Okay. So now you'd be able to click Save As. And because this is a new piece of content, we have to save it into our content library. I'm going to call this Our Staff. And again, I don't have an Our Staff section built out. So maybe underneath About Us, right? Because on the website, Our Staff lives underneath the About Us menu item. So maybe underneath About Us, I'm going to add a new menu, a new folder for Our Staff. And select that directory. Beautiful. Now I would go ahead and submit this page into workflow. All right, any questions on the staff? All right, we'll take a look at a handful of more content updates before we get into Marketeer. And the next one that I want to talk to is how you're going to go about hiding and removing pages. So at some point, you may want to remove a page from your website. And you can delete pages, you can archive pages. And the difference is that archiving allows you to reactivate the page at a later date. Deleting permanently deletes the page. So if you wanted to go and archive or delete a page, what you would do is you'd have to head over back to the dashboard. So I'd go back to the iApps dashboard. And I'd go to Menus and Pages. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that fake event I created. I'll expand the global navigation, Events and Community, and I'll go to this event. I see within this menu item I have 4 pages. To delete a page, click on it, hover over More, and select Delete. iApps is going to confirm that you want to delete the page. I'm going to say yes, delete it. And now that page is deleted. Okay. Give me one sec here. See where I am. All right, so let's just talk about a couple other helpful tips on page number 21 before we get into Marketeer. So going back to my dashboard, if there's multiple locations that you have access to, you'd be able to access them from here. You'd be able to search for your different locations, okay? You could keyword search for variant sites. Variant sites is another word for location, technical jargon.
So in more plain speak, that means you can enter in your site name, and that would come up. So if you're a multi-unit franchisee, you can access all of your camps through that drop down by typing in each location and going through and making the updates from there.
Yes. Now, if you want to add more iApps users to your websites, you will be working through the Campower corporate team to do so. So you'd either want to contact the corporate administrator or Bridgeline's support team, which again, we're getting you that information, the phone, the email, the website, and then we'd be able to set up the new user for you. An example of a new user would be if you have, a marketing manager you hire for your location, social media manager, or a new employee, and it's somebody that you ultimately want to be able to edit your website. All right, the final thing I'm going to talk about before we get over to the email is attributes, or maybe one or two other things. Attributes. There's 2 types of attributes you see here. First, I'm going to select the attribute. This is where you're going to be able to put in your location, right? Your address line, your city, the email address associated to this website, Facebook URL, fax number, franchise email address, and as I scroll down, we're going to get into things like your close date, open date, if there's a holiday, right? So these attributes automatically show on the website in certain sections. Now, if you're not managing things like, your hours and you want to manage your location itself, you'll go to the geo attributes, your geographical, right? Put in your address, your city, country, state, zip, and phone number, and that's how we're going to generate this latitude and longitude within the Google Maps.
Now, many of the site attributes, actually all of them should be populated for you already, but if there is something that needs to be updated, this is how you would go in and do it. But when you log in, a lot of this information will already be pre-populated for you.
So as I'm in the back end now, and I'm taking a break again, just going over some more admin things before getting into Marketeer, here's some different folders, okay? These 4 folders are really everything. Files and media. First of all, files and media. This is your file library. What you're probably going to want to do is add new folders to your file library. Again, this is just for internal structuring, right? This is just so you can keep a neatly organized file library. You'll probably want to do the same thing to the image library, right? You don't want all your images going into unassigned. Maybe you're going to have a folder for just home. And maybe you're going to come in and have a folder for, employees. The point is, this is yours to structure in the way that makes the most sense to you. And I definitely recommend structuring it and not just dropping everything into unassigned. The content item library, the same thing, right? This is where every piece of content lives, and I showed you this earlier, right? This is where we built out an Our Staff folder. And all these folders have something in common, which is they're just for internal purposes. They're for internal setting up. All right. Now let's move on to Marketeer. So I'm on page number 22. I'm on section 1.6, which is Marketeer use cases. So when you log into Marketeer, what's nice is I have this one integrated product. I don't have to log out and log back in to get to Marketeer. Instead, I could click on Marketeer right from here, and I'm brought to my Marketeer dashboard. Now this is my Marketeer dashboard, where I see all my email campaigns. From here, I could easily schedule emails, send emails, edit emails. So let's talk about section 1.6.1 on page 22, which is accessing the shared email campaign. So franchise locations will have emails shared with them from the corporate team. Those are the emails you see here. These emails have been pre-created for you, okay? All you're going to have to do is go in and edit them if you want to. So you'd be editing them for things like for your specific location. To edit the email, just click on the edit email you want to edit. So I'm going to edit my October newsletter for Broomfields, okay? And I'm going to click View and Schedule. Notice these pencil icons? It's a lot like Content Manager, right? Same exact usability. I could edit emails the same exact way I edit website content. I know, super neat, super easy. So on the left side here, you're going to want to verify that everything is correct. The email name is for internal use only. The email subject line is what comes in the subject line of the email. The sender name is Can't Bow Wow. And then see how you see site property title. Don't mess with that. We have in the back end attributes set up, and they're mapping things like location and location name So you're probably going to want to leave the sender name. The sender email, my only caveat I want to make sure to mention here is that you need to put in a real email address, okay? And I don't recommend using a personal email address. I recommend using more of this kind of email address because what happens is you're going to get a whole bunch of, bad emails, bounce backs, out of office messages returned, and you don't want to fill up your inbox with that. And the confirmation email, this person is going to receive an email address after this campaign successfully goes out saying something like, hey, this email is successfully sent to, 1,000 contacts or however many contacts you selected. So on the right, we see the actual contents of the email. The headers and the footers of the contents are set up by corporate. It really shouldn't be edited. So you really should not be editing this header here. Notice all these site properties. These dynamically fill in, right? And there's nothing in the footer that you should have to edit also, right down here, okay? It's important that we have these unsubscribe links for canned spam laws and stuff like that. The main text of the body of the email is what we recommend and think that you should be emailing. And is editing, excuse me. And the other thing that you're going to want to validate is the coupon. Right? Obviously, if you're sending out an email, you want to make sure to include the coupon that you're comfortable with and that you want to send out. So how would you go about changing the coupon? And I use that specifically because I think it's the most common text you'll be doing when editing emails. Well, let's go ahead and click on the pencil icon to edit the text and choose Edit Text. What I'm going to do is click on the coupon and then delete the image. And just click delete on my keyboard. Now what we're going to do is select an image to add by clicking on our Insert Image from Library button. And what I'm going to do is the same exact way I could add images to my website. I could add images here. But I'm going to go ahead and take a coupon created for me by the corporate team. Right? It's really nice. We don't have to recreate the wheel. We could take what's been created for us. Here's that coupon folder. And these are all the coupons I have. I want the free bath coupon, so I'm going to click on it, select the image, and there it is. Pretty neat. So now that we're back in the editor, we want to make sure that this coupon is saved and that our email is updated. So what we would do is we would click Save As, and we would save this new piece of content into our content library. The content library is shared across your website and across Marketeer. Okay, so that's something that's nice. If you recreate, as an example, let's say you create an event on your website and you want to email your followers, your email recipients, and alert them of this event. You don't have to recreate it in Marketeer. You could insert that text from the shared library, right? So if I cancel that, I could insert text from my content library. And this is the same content library that I have on my website. Finally, we always recommend, as I scroll back up, running a test email before you send this off to the public. So you could send a test email, and you can send this to yourself or a group of employees by typing in the email addresses in the box, comma separated, as you'll see in a moment. Okay. The next thing that you would do is click Save and Schedule. From here, you can select the date and time. And notice how we even have this recipient list set up, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I'm not going to click Save and Continue because, I don't want to send out real emails, okay? So I'm just going to click Close. I'm not going to send this. And let's close out of here as well. Any questions on the editing emails that are available campaigns to you guys? Alrighty. So now let's talk about creating a new email. So similar to, editing an email, perhaps that you're going to want to create one day a new email by yourself. What you're going to do is head over to Campaigns and create an email campaign. Let's try manage emails. And within my first email group, adding a new email. There you go. So what you're going to do here is choose the template. And then you fill in all this email information. You put in your email name, which is internal. So I'm going to call this email name, October Puppy Parade. My email subject line. A sender name. A sender email address. And a confirmation email address. Maybe, Ethan@campbella.com. Now we would click continue. And we would be able to go in and to create the email contents the same exact way we created things before. Same exact WYSIWYG editor, okay? Nothing changed, same usability, which I love about iApps. You know how to use Content Manager, you know how to use Marketeer. It's the same usability, same WYSIWYG, all that good stuff. All right, next we would save and schedule the email. And again, this is where we get to choose the recipients, the contact lists, schedule it out, and then I would save and continue. I don't want to create anything for real, so I'm actually not going to save it. All right, so now that we've talked about creating emails, let's talk about how you're going to see the stats of those emails. So I'm going to go to my Sent tab. I see this email has been sent, so I'm going to click on Email Statistics. All right, check this out. This is pretty sweet. Here I see how many sends the email got, how many people it delivered to, how many of them opened it, unique opens, clicks, unsubscribes, bounces, right? So let's view the overlays of this email. Right, this is some decent information, whatever. It's not a lot of information. I'll tell you what I mean. I'll actually export the email stats here. Right, not a whole lot of information. So I want more information. All right, so what we got here is the body of the email in overlay mode. And what I mean by overlay mode is it's kind of like a heat map. So as I scroll down, you're going to see little percentages. That's going to tell me how many clicks this link got. Check this out. You can see exactly who clicked on what link. Okay, so Kristen is interested in Rhino Pup Crawl. How cool is that? You're going to see exactly what your leads or what your customers are interested in. Oh, who's interested in the Halloween orchard? I knew Shelly was into that, right? Now, it's one thing just to know this information, but you're going to want to act on this information. If 2 people clicked on the Rhino Pup Crawl, maybe you want to send them another email about the Rhino Pup Crawl. Probably not if it was only 2, but if 50 people clicked on it. You probably want to send those people more information about the Rhino Pup Crawl. If people are raising their hand saying, hey, this is what I want to do, I liked it, then obviously you want to deliver them more information about what it is they like. They raise their hands, hey, I want to join this crawl. Okay, let's make sure to send them another email later in a week reminding them about their crawl, asking for their registration, whatever. Long story short, I'm going to assign these people to a contact list. I could create a new contact list, right? And I'll probably call this something like Rhino Pup Crawl, and then I could save this list. So now later when I'm creating an email, I could automatically, choose this list and have the email go to this list if I'm creating another email about the Pup Crawl specific. Is that pretty awesome? I wrote Pup Crawl, but it's Pup Crawl. All right. Does that make sense? Pretty nifty, sweet marketing capabilities here. Okay. I think so. Close out of here. So let's talk about how you're going to import contacts into Marketeer. So one of the tasks that may be needed is to upload your contact list to send out the happy hour invitations or monthly newsletters. The first thing you're going to have to do is export the current contacts from your current system, which is my newsletter builder. And as you can see here, we give you the directions on how to do that, okay? So if you have multiple subscribers, we're telling you how to get the contacts out of my newsletter builder. This is really important because you got to get them out. That way you can get them into iApp. All right, so now we're up to the point where you got to get the contacts into iApp. So what we're going to do is go ahead and select Import Contacts within iApps. When you select Import Contacts, you're going to get this little bit of a wizard. The first thing that we have to do is upload the CSV file. You could download a sample CSV from here, but what I'm also going to do is show you an existing fake CSV file so you can see some things it should have. Obviously, these attributes are going to be specific to you. These aren't the attributes you're going to see. You're going to see things about dogs, not random attributes that I've set up. But keep in mind with the CSV file, all your headers should be one word, no spaces, and you don't want a comma anywhere in here because the CSV stands for comma-separated value. So you don't want a comma in your file, okay? So to upload that file, you would browse the contacts to import contacts. And then continue to map the fields. So what are the fields that you would have? Well, you would have last transaction date and time, last transaction email, state, right? These are all attributes that would be exported or that could be exported from your current system. And what you would do is map all the attributes. Of course, I don't have any of these real attributes set up. I didn't have a real export, from you guys. After you map the attributes, you'll verify the data. And iApps is going to tell us how many contacts we uploaded, if there were any with issues. And then finally, we would continue, and we would create a contact list. So I'd create a new list, I would title that list, and I would import that list. Okay. Once it's imported, we would get a message telling us that it was successfully imported.
And just to clarify some of that, when you're exporting from my newsletter builder, you probably won't have all of those attributes, so you can just transfer the email addresses as the only attribute, because that's a lot of times what you may just have in there.
Gotcha. All right, so now let's talk about creating a contact list. And these are going to be big for your triggered emails, which are using dynamic contact lists that pull in your most recent contacts from Datadog. And these have actually been created for you. All right? So let me just show you what I mean. If I go to Add New Contact List, actually, let me go to a Manage Contact List just so you can see that they've been created. See all these different contact lists, synced, not synced? We've dynamically created all these contact lists for you. And by a dynamic list, what that means is anytime somebody new has been active for 60 days, they're automatically assigned into this list, okay? So that's all happening with your Datadog connection. Okay. And then within campaigns, let's check one thing, sorry. Okay. We also have autoresponders set up. So let me go ahead and manage those. So notice these autoresponders. Well, these are emails that are automatically going to go out to people when they do a certain action like an appointment confirmation, an MVP, thank you, right? And you have the ability to edit these emails that are going to go out. And this is that email. And you can go out and edit this email, okay? And the trigger that triggers that email is over here. So again, if I go to Manage Autoresponders, appointment confirmation. Well, when would someone get this email? What do they have to do? Let's edit it. And here you see to get that email, it means that they filled out, they triggered a certain watched event, which was appointment confirmation. So this is another thing that's all set up for you guys, okay? So it's all set up for you guys, and I mean, it's there. Julie, is there anything specifically that you think that they should be doing with autoresponders, or again, we're pretty much squared away here?
Yeah, for autoresponders, I think we just need to show how they can activate or deactivate the campaign, because initially you will be opted out or inactive, or have all the campaigns be inactive, so nothing will be running, and then you can choose, once you go and log in, which campaigns you want to run and activate.
Yep, so here you see that they're active, but like Julie mentioned, you know, if you don't want to send an appointment confirmation email, you don't want to be in this autoresponder, you don't want to be having it sent to people to your site, you can make it inactive, okay? Same thing here. As far as the email assets goes, it is worth pointing out that it's the same libraries as Content Manager. So the images, the content, the files are all shared from Content Manager and Marketeer. That being said, you know, I definitely don't ever recommend attaching a file to an email. Instead, you would want to link them over to your website. All right. Anything else that we should cover, Julie?
I think we covered it all. So when you guys first log into Marketeer within the platform, you'll see a number of scheduled email campaigns. Those are all the ones that we've pre-built for you. There's a newsletter, there is a generic event email, and then there's a lot of the triggered ones that would be built off of Datadog information. And then also if you go to campaigns, and maybe Ethan, you can follow what I'm saying, campaigns and autoresponders, that's where you'll see those other 4 that he just went over. So the email campaigns will be in 2 locations for you, just based on the way they're getting triggered. So you'll want to go into each of those, review the campaigns, and then choose the ones that you want to activate or schedule to send. And this is really where we'll need your help in terms of beta and your feedback for it, so that we can understand how the campaigns are working for you, any issues you're running into, and any additional features or things that you would like. So we can kind of plan the next campaigns and roll out more campaigns for you. And then there's a few questions, so I'm going to cover a few of them. One of them was, our autoresponders, do they get generated from Datadog when reservations are made? Yes, if you have activated the reservation confirmation or appointment confirmation campaign, that would then trigger an email to send. Do you have welcome letters for Home Buddies and Behavior Buddies? For Behavior Buddies, we would probably leverage the camp one. Welcome is once they pass their interview. We can also create another campaign for Behavior Buddies, but we haven't had that on the radar yet. Home Buddies, we do not have a way for triggered emails with Home Buddies yet, because it requires integration with Power Pet Sitter. But for Home Buddies, we will have the one-off email campaigns and some templates for you that you can then send to your Home Buddies customers. Will you continue to use my newsletter builder? You should not be renewing my newsletter builder. We've been talking about that for a long time and be on month to month. After you've completed your training today, you have access to leverage iApps and begin sending emails through this platform. Once we launch officially, then we would require everybody to be sending their emails through this platform. So you should not be renewing. You should do month to month. And if you want to start sending your emails through this, make sure you get your contact list exported from my newsletter builder and imported into this platform. I think those are all of the questions that I'm seeing in this list. There was two other things that came up earlier, Ethan, if you can touch on. One is if you have an image and it goes in unassigned, can you move it to a new folder later?
Great question. No. So let me go back to my content manager. Let's talk to these different areas, my folders. In the content item library, I can drag and drop content items from one folder into another for housekeeping, right? Because again, it's just like a file cabinet. In my image library, I cannot move images from one folder to another, okay? Can't do it. It has to do with how iApps pulls a page. In the file library, you can drag and drop files from one folder to another. And what was the other question, Julie?
And then the other one was on events. On the website, there's a way to save it to a calendar. Is that functionality something that we could also put in an email?
I don't know offhand. I'll have to check. Let's see. Mike, you're on the line. If you know the answer, feel free to shoot it to me. I just got to see what that was.
And we can follow up on that offline,
yeah.
And I can send an answer out to the group.
Yeah,
once
thank
we
you.
have
I don't know that answer. Cool.
Okay. I believe that's everything all the questions that I'm seeing in this list. If I've missed something, I'm going to download it, and then I can get back to anybody else after this training session. I think Steve had a couple things that he wanted to cover. I know he sent out some information for Datadog that you'll want to be aware of, so he's going to cover a little bit about that. So let me give him control.
All right, thanks for your time, everybody.
Thanks, Ethan.
Hi guys, excuse me. While ReadyTalk's switching over permissions here, again, I just wanted to briefly go over the changes made to Datadog to integrate with the new marketing platform and make sure that everything was pretty crystal clear with that. I know that the release itself had a lot of moving parts to it, and that email was pretty long, and little outrageous. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was in the know with how all of this is integrating with Datadog. So give me another 30 seconds here to let this happen. The first big change was really to the interview workflow, in that we needed to place a trigger inside of the interview checkout process to then send that call over to the marketing platform to tell them to send an email upon a successful completion of an interview. So let me take over here. Okay, so real quick, we'll just run through this in a real quick scenario. So another big change with this too is that as new dogs get added to the system, they're going to get added under a pending interview status. Typically before, the system would just default them directly to active. But with this, we needed a new status type to be able to identify those dogs that have not successfully completed an interview yet. So here we have an example of a client that is their dog is just newly added and under that status type. So we're going to go ahead and build them an interview reservation. And we're just going to buzz through this real quick just so we can get to the checkout. Let the screen catch up here. All right, so now we're going to click the checkout icon, obviously. We're going to go ahead and check them out. And this is the new process that's been added. It's a new pop-up that comes up within that checkout workflow where we can actually decide and tell Datadog who completed the interview and whether or not they passed, they failed, or need further evaluation. Now, the differences between these are if they passed, their status will be changed to active automatically. If they failed, their status will be changed to failed interview. And if they need further evaluation, meaning they need to come back in or you want to have them come back in for another trial day, it will leave their status as pending interview. So let's go ahead and assume that the dog passed and everything went well. Before we do that, I want to show this new report that we were also able to add based on this pending interview status type. So that gave us a new element to now be able to report on. So what we've done is built out a report that will default to the current month and show you all of the dogs that have not completed their interview yet. So here we see our dog showing up now. As we check out and save this new information and go back to the report, we'll refresh, and you can see they're gone now because their status type is now active. As we go back to the client account now, typically we'd always have to come back to the dog's profile to fill out the interview and trial day information on the right-hand side of the screen. That new workflow is going to automatically update that for you. So there's no longer that need to come back to the pet's profile to update that information. Again, Datadog is going to do that for you. The other big trigger out of Datadog is the top spender report. So this is going to trigger the MVP campaign within the marketing platform. But it's generated by you. So it's more of a feature that you have to initiate from Datadog itself to then send over to the marketing platform. So within the top spender report, you'll see a new link here called Export to Marketing Platform. If we click that, you'll be able to choose the 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 30 top spenders you want to email. You can also select a date range different than what was already on the report. And as we click Compile List, it's going to generate that list for you. And then as you click Send List, that will send an email to those recipients. with that MVP campaign. A couple other little minor changes that have happened too. With this status, it used to be under the photo here and kind of hidden. So we've moved that into a more visible place here in the basic info. Very small change, but a little aesthetically pleasing. What else did we have? That was really about it. So again, I just wanted to make sure you guys are all in the know of how Datadog is going to be triggering these events within the system. Yeah, and as things get redeemed, the typical redemption still exists, where we're just going to select the promo code or the discount code and be able to tag that within the discounts field of an interview, of the reservation or a cart sale. We've just got a question that came in specifically revolving around the birthdays. Datadog in the past, as a new dog is added, it would default the birthday to January 1st of whatever the current year is. So it was adding bad data to the system. So as a part of this whole process too, we've cleaned up that data to set those fields as null or with no value. So that as we get valid birth dates from these clients, that we're able to add those in without the system sending an automated email to several clients that just by default of being added with a January 1 of whatever year birthday. There's another question about how the emailing history out of Datadog. So again, Datadog is not really the main source of email. That history will be retained within the IAPS platform, within the Marketeer platform. So as you have emails going back and forth, that's where you will go to see that history and to see who was emailed and get all of that analytics that you can from that platform.
Okay, so I don't think there are any more questions that we're seeing. I know we covered a lot of information today, and you'll probably have to go back and review this a few times. But as you get into your website or as you get into the emails, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll send out Bridgeline's information this week as well, and so you can reach out to them as a resource. And check the email that we send out via PAC News. There's the links to the forums on the Doghouse that we'd love to get your feedback. All right, seeing nothing else, thank you guys for attending and staying on through this long webinar. I know it's a long afternoon, but we really appreciate it. So thank you.